Amigas, amigos, it is Los Bravos Day here at SunTrust Park. And it is a beautiful day for baseball. Braves baseball brought to you by Hyundai. It is indeed a cloudy Hyundai Sunday as we match up with the Washington Nationals for the final time here in 2018. A very special day. You see the Braves wearing their Los Bravos uniforms. Hopefully Atlanta can avoid a los and trim that magic number to 8 in the National League Eastern race for the division title as they are neck and neck with the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi again, everybody, along with Tom Glavine, Joe Simpson. Welcome back to the ballpark. A day off for our crew yesterday, and 14 walks later. Quite frankly, we're glad we missed that one. But hopefully today's a better day for the Braves, who have been doing great work all year long, Joe, against this Washington ball club. A very happy turnaround for the Atlanta team.
Absolutely it is. They've won the most games against the Nationals, and they've won against them in quite some time. Washington's kind of had their way with the Braves over the last 3 or 4 years, but not this year. Atlanta has a chance to go 11-8 against them. But look how even some of these numbers are. The record is pretty close, of course. Home runs are pretty even. The ERA better on the Braves side, and the Braves are 6-3 here at SunTrust Park, and they have that going for them today.
Tough day pitching-wise for the Braves yesterday, Tommy. Let's hope Sean Newcomb can pitch for Atlanta like he did last time out. He was simply brilliant in San Fran.
Well, yeah, the one thing he's got to look at is how many walks there were yesterday and how he pitched his last start against San Francisco, which, oh, by the way, no walks. So look for him to go out there today, pound the strike zone again, pitch with some confidence. You see there, 6 innings, no walks, 8 strikeouts against the Giants, and he's been fantastic against the National League East this year. 6-1 with a 1.99. He lost his first start of the year and hasn't lost since. So he's been spectacular in the East. Really good last time out. So hopefully he has that same vibe that he had in San Francisco today.
And he's been a stopper. He's been very good after a Braves loss. Hopefully Newcomb will have his A stuff for Atlanta here in Game 3 of the series. It's a great matchup. Soto and Acuna. Braves and Nationals. First pitch from SunTrust Park is coming up next. Division stands at 9 games. Any combination of Braves wins and Phillies losses adding to 9 mean the Braves head to postseason play. Our weather report, it is cloudy, 78 degrees. These are the remnants of Hurricane Florence. And again, our thoughts and prayers go to all of our fans in Braves country in South Carolina, North Carolina, northern Georgia, southern Virginia, as that torrential downpour continues here on Sunday afternoon. That's Dave Martinez at his Nationals, 75 and 74 on the year. Their Toyota starting lineup features Victor Robles leading off in center field, Bryce Harper in right. Might be the final time we see Bryce Harper in Atlanta wearing a Washington Nationals uniform. Soto, Zimmerman, Wieters, Sanchez, a career minor leaguer at second base. Tanner Roark will pitch. And Tommy, Sean Newcomb back in action looking for victory number 13 today.
Yeah, 29th start on the year, 12 and 8 on the year. Like we said, coming off a really good start out in San Francisco. So been a little up and down for him of late. So hopefully that's going to be the one that kind of gets him on a roll here through the month of September and hopefully deep into the postseason.
Well, one of the things that I thought was really important out in San Francisco, Tommy, is the first key today, his fourth key to pitching success, fastball aggression. He was pounding the zone with his fastball. He wasn't really trying to nitpick on corners. He was going right after guys. And also Anthony Rendon, while he is 4 for 9 against Sean in his career, it seems to me that every time Harper or Trey Turner get on base in front of Rendon, he's the guy that kind of keeps an inning going and does more damage than anybody else. So kind of focus on him today.
So Newcomb finishing up his warm-up tosses. This series also features two of the game's electric rookies. Juan Soto for Washington set a record last night, or yesterday I should say, with 3 stolen bases, the youngest player in over 100 years to steal 3 bases in a game. And we know all about what Ronald Acuna has done in the series. He's 5 for 9 and a 4-hit game here on Friday, his first 4-hit game in the big leagues. He scored a couple of runs and drove in 2 as well. So there's a major league game, but fellas, there's also a couple of games within the game in the series wrap up today, which we'll keep an eye on.
Yeah, the game within the game, particularly those 2 guys. That was a lot of fun Friday night watching them.
Well, that's something.
Yeah, a little bit more, like we said, all right, anything you can do, I can do better. So it's been both those guys with the opportunity to play against each other head to head have certainly been making their case for Rookie of the Year.
And for Soto, one man's misfortune leads to one man's opportunity. And it was this man's misfortune that is what got Soto to the major leagues this year. Victor Robles takes a fastball outside, and we're underway in Atlanta. Robles has been rated the #1 prospect in the national system for a couple of years. He got hurt early this season and spent most of the year on the disabled list. And so had he not gotten hurt, it might have been him coming up instead of Soto in 2018. And Newcomb's behind him, 2 balls, no strikes, and got that one over, says Phil Cuzzy. 2-1 the count. And another fastball right there, 94 in a perfect spot. It's 2-2.
Yeah, nice easy 94 so far.
Robles played just 52 games at AAA this year. Batted .276. And that one is swung on late and fouled into the camera well by the Braves dugout. We'll do it again, 2-2.
This guy last year started at Potomac in A-ball, hit 33 home runs. Excuse me, had 33 RBIs, then had 14 RBIs following that at Harrisburg. And he just kept climbing the ladder, driving in runs, and that's what got everybody's attention, was his ability to put runners across, and not necessarily with homers. He may be the leadoff guy they've been needing.
Pitch number 7 is hit in the air to shallow center, and Ender will track that down. And Robles is retired to start the game. 1 up and 1 down. And here's a man who has led off for Washington all year. It's Trey Turner. And Turner, an interesting case. .267 average, 63 RBIs, 39 stolen bases. But a couple of numbers really jump out at you as either a #1 or #2 hitter. 122 strikeouts, 2 sacrifice bunts.
Too many strikeouts for a leadoff guy.
I really felt like when we first saw him and he was playing center field for these guys that he was going to be the new dynamic player in the National League because of all that he could do with his legs, how fast he was. He had a lot of power, has a lot of power, but that should be almost at least 50-50 with his legs and not covering up his speed.
So moving forward, is Turner a guy that will move down in the lineup as a run producer instead of a table setter for the Nationals? A lot of that, I guess, depends on what happens with the man on deck. That's Bryce Harper, who was a free agent at the end of the year. Good series for Turner. He's got 3 hits against Atlanta here, and that one almost took Newcomb with it into center field. A whistling line drive, and he's in position to try for his 40th steal with a 1-out single. That was close.
Boy, was it ever.
Yeah, a lot of times that's the one that you're throwing that pitch up and in like that. You don't expect the guy to square it up and hit it right back at you. Caught Sean by a little by surprise, but thankfully didn't hit him.
So Bryce Harper will dig in. Again, this could be the final time we see Bryce Harper in a Nationals uniform in this game today. Harper 1 for 7 in the series. Low batting average, but big production. 33 homers, 95 runs batted in. Harper's looking for a 100 run, 100 RBI, and more than 100 walk season this year. It's been done by Joey Votto, Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jose Bautista since the 2014 season. It's pretty elite company.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, so much of the talk centered around him having an off year is mostly due to his batting average. But yeah, I think a lot of teams would like to have a 100 guy in the middle of the lineup.
Absolutely. And he's gotten his average up to almost 250.
Turner has a good lead, and the pitch to Harper is taken a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Harper and Laz Diaz didn't see eye to eye in Friday night's game. I remember the sequence where Laz Diaz was telling Davey Martinez to come out and talk to him. It wasn't the pitcher who was arguing a call at the plate. It was Bryce Harper gesturing wildly in center field. That one's out of play.
I guess that might give you some idea how good Harper's eyes are.
Yeah. Well, good point. And then Harper later came up in the game and took a pitch that was a good 6-8 inches off the plate for a called strike, and he and Diaz were chirping at the plate. And Harper stayed in the game. And is back in the lineup, of course, today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Swing and a drive. That ball is hammered. Ender can't get it. It is a home run for Bryce Harper. It's 2-0 Washington. "34 homers, 97 runs batted in."
I know he hits a lot of, I'm sure he hits a lot of line drive homers, but he also hits some of the most majestic fly balls ever.
Yeah, fastball a little bit up, lefty on lefty. That's where lefties always love the ball down and in, but the ball's away from him. They want him elevated a little bit against the lefty. He got it, and he didn't miss it.
17th home run surrendered by Newcomb. Harper's gotten him twice in his career. And before Tanner Roark's thrown a pitch, the Nationals have struck in the first. It's 2-0 for Anthony Rendon. There are about 300 major league players who would love to say they're having a bad year like Bryce Harper.
No kidding.
A 430-foot homer out by the Braves bullpen.
And that number might be low.
Yeah. The home run, the distance, or the number?
No, the number of players.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Rendon at 296 with 19 homers. You know, I think we were talking about this on Friday. You look at this Washington team, still a very dangerous club, still hovering around 500. If this season were another 2.5 weeks longer, this would be a very dangerous club the way they've been swinging the bats of late. They'd come to Atlanta winning 5 of 6 games before the Braves beat them 10-5 in the opener. That's won 7-1 yesterday, and they've scored first here in the first today.
Every team has ups and downs through the season. We've seen that with the Braves where they get a little cold sometimes offensively. That's going to happen. But you look at Washington's team numbers for the year. They're number 1 in the league in defense by 9 errors over the next closest team. They are 3rd in the league in runs scored, 6th in average, 5th in homers. That's good enough. It's hard to believe that it's their pitching that has really let them down.
Ineffective year for Gio Gonzalez, who's since been traded. Strasburg spent 6 weeks on the disabled list. I mean, Scherzer can't do it all himself. And it's another walk for Rendon. After 14 of those yesterday, Newcomb has a first inning free pass, and that sets it up for Soto.
Despite the homer, you still got to stay aggressive with this ball club and keep them on guard for your fastball.
And Newcomb wants a different rosin bag. So Drew Plant will take care of that. And meeting on the mound with Flowers and Dansby Swanson with Rendon at first, and a 2-0 Washington lead.
Tom, we've had these starts before with Sean where perspiration's been an issue. Grip on the baseball's been a problem. It's not hot today, but it is muggy. But out in San Francisco, you know what the climate's like out there. That seems to be where he thrives, is in that kind of conditions.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Look, when you get humidity, you get heat. Obviously, you're sweating a lot. So, yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to keep that hand dry and not have, you know, too much moisture. So it's a battle, but, you know, one that over time you learn how to deal with and keep under control.
I mean, even Max Scherzer had trouble with that on Friday. As Soto digs in and bounces to the right side. That's going to sneak through for a hit. Rendon around second, on his way to third. And the Nationals have him at the corners, still with 1 out. So Soto's impressive series continues, and Ryan Zimmerman will be the batter.
Big hook. He waited on it and just rolled it through there with Freddie holding the runner on. Heck of a player.
Well, you're a double play ball away from getting out of the inning. And with all due respect to Ryan Zimmerman, who's had a terrific career with the Nationals, speed is not his forte. He's hit to 9 double plays in 75 games. Myriad injuries have sidetracked him in 2018. That's also a big part of the story for the Nationals. Lots of their regular players have been banged up.
Yeah, what did we say the other night? They've only had this, or what they thought was going to be their everyday lineup, what, 14 times so far this year or something?
Yeah. 1-0 pitch. Check swing, bouncing ball to Freeman. He's going to double clutch and fire to second. One on to first. It's too late, and Rendon will score the 3rd run. So Soto is forced at second. Zimmerman gets his 48th RBI on the ground out, and he'll stand at first with a 3-0 lead. If you can't win the division, the next best thing is to make it tough for the team who's in best position to do that. And the Nationals are trying here in the first inning. And here's Matt Wieters, the catcher. Wieters, a switch hitter, batting right-handed and batting .230 for the campaign. And he jumps on the first pitch and singles to left. That'll bring up Adrian Sanchez, the 8th place hitter here in the first.
Sean only gave up 3 hits in that start in San Francisco. He's given up 4 here in the first inning. You know, when you look at Sean's day by day, I'll call it, Tommy, with his starts, what you see primarily are bad start, good, bad, good. It's a lot of inconsistency in there, trying to get on a track to have and reel off 4 or 5 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, look, and you guys have heard me say it enough, and I know you know, Joe. I mean, the hardest thing to find in this game is consistency. I mean, you want to be that guy that your manager can pencil in. Here's what you're going to do every year. Here's what you're going to do from game to game, and it's hard to get there, particularly for young guys. You know, they're going through, Sean, you know, he's going through his first full season, going through his first month of September. He hasn't pitched this deep, hasn't been in a pennant race. I mean, all these guys are going through all that stuff. So, and all the while, you're trying to still find yourself. You know, and you have those external pressures of, I want to do what better. I'm trying to get better. We got a chance to make the playoffs. I want to be one of the guys in the playoffs that's pitching. So all those factors, you got to find a way to, you know, kind of weed it all out and you know, keep it as simple as you can. Pitch to pitch.
I think one of the things you just said, maybe we don't talk about enough, and that is the month of September, an extra month on what used to be a season that ended in late August.
Yeah, these guys are used to being home for 2 weeks right now.
Right.
So this is new territory for a lot of them.
And that's an excellent point. Sean enters this game 2 1/3 innings away from his career high in innings pitched, which he set last year. So it is uncharted territory for him, not to mention the pressure and the excitement of a postseason opportunity, which adds to all of that.
I mean, even, you know, he's off to a little bit of a rocky start here, but I at least like the way he's going about it. He's being aggressive. He's throwing his fastball. He's trying to attack with his fastball. Yeah, he's made a couple mistakes, but he's not, you know, kind of dancing around and walking a lot of guys. I mean, he's got the 1 walk, obviously, and 3-1 count here, but he's trying to be aggressive, which, you know, to me, as long as you're trying to do that, you got a chance to find it somewhere during the course of the inning or the game.
3 balls and a strike to Adrian Sanchez, and that's fouled away for a full count. Sanchez, a nice story, 996 minor league games and a couple of cups of coffee in the major leagues, including last season with Washington. He's got 8 hits at the big league level this year. And a payoff pitch with 2 on. Runners go, and it's tapped out of play, foul. Bob Henley, the third base coach, makes a nice play, and we'll do it again.
He's been with the Nationals organization since 2007.
Payoff is hit high in the air to shallow center, and Ender's going to catch that. And Washington with a very productive first inning, 3 runs on 4 hits. The biggest blast, Bryce Harper's 2-run homer. Here come the Braves after a half inning, down 3-0. At 430 feet from home plate. Nationals got 3 in the first. Let's see if Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Bravos can answer. He leads off Brian Snitker's Toyota starting lineup. Still no Johan Camargo. Charlie Culberson will be at third base. Swanson and Newcomb 8th and 9th, and Tanner Roark, the man on the mound, looking for win number 9.
There you see Tanner going through his warm-up pitches. His 30th start on the year, 8-15 with a 4.3. As Joe mentioned, last 2 not very good at all. 0-1 with a 10 ERA. So let's hope, being down 3-0, the Braves have caught him at a bad time and they can erase that deficit quickly.
He has not walked a batter in his last 25 2/3 innings. I want to get that out there so that he can be put on notice that
yes,
it'd be all right to put a couple of guys on.
I love the reverse jinx.
Thank you.
Acuna hasn't needed any jinxes. He's been tremendous. 296 average, 25 homers, 55 driven in, and Roark pulls one off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. We fly to our next city. My partner likes to say we're coming in hot when we get close to the runway. Tanner Roark is not coming to town hot. He has been rocked of late in rotation. Last 3 starts, 14 earned runs, 26 hits, covering 15 2/3 innings.
Almost sounds like he's hit a wall. He had a good June, July, and August, part of August.
1-1 pitch. And that's the pitch that Roark lives on. He is a ground ball machine when he's right. He didn't get that call. 2 balls and a strike. That one good enough. It's an even count. Ronald's done a nice job of working counts leading off the game. He's not up there hacking at the first one all the time. You'll see a 5th pitch from Roark here. And now it's 3-2.
Yeah, to me, he's done a good job of recognizing that, you know, pitchers aren't necessarily throwing him that first pitch fastball for a strike anymore. So if he goes up there looking for it and he doesn't get it, he's fine with taking it.
Mile high pop up. Zimmerman in on the grass, and to his right, now backpedaling, and Acuna pops out. 1 away. Ozzie Albies is the batter. He's 2 for 7 in the series. Ozzie's sitting on 99 runs scored this year for Atlanta. Looking to be the first Brave with 100 or more runs scored since Freddie Freeman tallied 102 in the 2016 season. And a strike. Braves got a lot of mileage out of Johan Camargo in the number 2 spot in the batting order. But Johan tweaked a groin muscle in San Francisco on September 11th and hasn't played since. Little pop beyond the third base bag. Rendon ranges and in foul ground hauls that in. Another pop up for Albies. 2 up, 2 down.
I was watching Johan run before the game, going through some exercises, running around on the outside of the infield on the grass, and seemed to be moving real well. Ian Bradford Scott at least appeared to be running pain-free, so that's a good sign.
Nationals in the middle of their shift as the first one heads home to Freeman, and he lines it over the shift into right field.
Yeah, they set their infield in motion.
Right.
Freddie wasn't bothered by it.
That's a new twist on the shift that Freddie beats anyway.
Well, if you pitch Freddie knee-high inner third down there, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, you're. I think Tanner's happy he just gave up a single right there.
Yes, sir. Tanner's fastball sits in the low 90s, but 2-seamer, 4-seamer, you can get some good sinking action, as Chip said. A lot of ground balls. He's got a good breaking ball too. Combined the last 2 years, this guy won 29 games. So the fact that he's 8-15 this year is quite an anomaly for him.
Yeah, so with Gio Gonzalez having an up and down year, Roark having an off year, the 5th spot in the rotation was a real question mark for them. Strasburg missing time on the DL. That illustrates your point, Joe, of the Nationals pitching staff had its share of troubles this season too, and not surprisingly why they've hovered around 500.
They lost Doolittle for quite a period of time too. Their closer, that hurt them.
Two balls, no strikes. Freeman at first with a 3-0 Washington lead. The pitch is in for a strike, 2-1. Nick still leads the National League in hits and multi-hit games. He's tied for first in doubles, 5th in average, 8th in RBIs. What a year. And has started every game for the Braves this year. The only other National League player that can say that is Freddie Galvis, who started every game for the Padres. See if Nick gets something to drive here with a 3-1 count. Popped it up. Soto in left, Turner at short. Who wants it? It'll be Soto, and that's the inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. Roark maintains a 3-0 lead after 1. Number 2.
Visit Synovus for your banking, lending, and investing needs. Synovus, the bank of here.
Washington sent 8 to the plate. They picked up 4 hits, including Bryce Harper's 34th home run of the season. Let's see if Sean can get back on the beam here. He'll get a little help. He's got Tanner Roark, the pitcher, leading off the second.
What are you insinuating?
I'm insinuating he's a pitcher. He's hitting 196. That's all.
Oh,
don't take it so personal. He's athletic. 8 RBIs, nothing to sneeze at.
That's got to be among the league leaders,
I would think.
for pitchers, doesn't it?
Pop fly out of play. A couple years ago, you might recall, Roark was a pleasant surprise for them. And the Nationals went out and got Doug Fister, and Roark had to go to the bullpen for a year.
Yeah, after he'd won 15 games.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well. 1-1 pitch. And fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, not too many times you're going to see a guy win 15 games for you, and then the next year he's in the bullpen.
I think they would have, at that time, like to have rethought that.
And a swing and a miss. Newcomb heats him up upstairs, and that's his first strikeout today. Final home game of the regular season is a week from today. Can you believe that? It's also Fan Appreciation Days, so head out to SunTrust Park and enjoy surprise giveaways and activities and free games in Hope and Will Sandlot. Braves say thank you for a great regular season as they wrap up the regular season with the Phillies here at home. Go to Braves.com/promos for all the details. And our great stat man upstairs, Jared Burleson, the MVP as statisticians this year. 8 RBIs for Roark, tied for the most among pitchers. John Lester of the Cubs also has 8. And Victor Robles, the batter, 1-1 count to him. He flied out to center his first time up. Good hook. 1-2. We'll see if grip is an issue for Newcomb the rest of the way today. It certainly was for Max Scherzer on Friday night. Something happened in that game I've never seen happen before. As the 2-2 pitch is on the way and flied toward right center. Ender takes a peek at Markakis and darts in front to make the play. There's the second out. Joe, I'm sure you saw it as well.
Yeah.
With every pitch, Max Scherzer would tip his cap, and you could see the water falling off the brim. He actually changed caps in the middle of the inning. I've never seen that happen before.
I hadn't either. And it's almost like he was having to explain himself to the home plate umpire too, to explain what he was doing.
So it's a much cooler day in Atlanta today than it's been the last couple. Cloud cover certainly helps, but it is still quite humid. As Turner bats, he singled and scored ahead of Harper's home run an inning ago. Little ground ball hit towards short. Dansby's got it, and Newcomb recovers with a 1-2-3 second inning. Charlie Culberson leads off for Atlanta. It's 3-0.
Hair day. The Nationals lead the Braves 3-0 as we head to the home half of the second inning. And as you've heard Chip and Joe talk about, it is the second annual Los Bravos weekend. Today specifically is Los Bravos Day. You see all of the guys wearing the Los Bravos jerseys, and you know the significant portion of players we have on this team who represent those Latin countries. The Braves have done a great job with this today. You see the pregame ceremony right before first pitch, honoring every country represented by the Braves with the players out there. They read the lineups in Spanish. And you know, Chip and Joe, this day means a lot to these guys. Their home countries, they love being able to represent them. This gives them a way to do that.
I love the way the Braves do it, Kelsey. I think it's great to have all the flags out with the guys standing in front of their respective countries. I think that is real special. I'm sure it makes them proud.
Strike one to Charlie Culberson leading off the second, and he just swung at ball two.
There's that nasty little sinker.
Charlie's had good luck against Washington this year, but not in this second inning at bat. Roark strikes him out, one away in the Braves second inning, and Ender Inciarte is coming up.
Well, again, Tanner Roark may not be the ace, but he knows how to pitch, and he's got an arsenal, and he's won 63 ball games. So even though his last 3 starts haven't been very good, doesn't mean today will be.
And for once, I agree with the always entertaining Washington media notes when they say he is one of MLB's top unheralded pitching performers.
Yeah, I like their little notes. Good, entertaining.
Ball one to Ender Inciarte. Hitting .261, 10 homers, 58 driven in. Ender's been a man on the mission since the All-Star break. And this one's hit right toward the shortstop Turner, who has an easy play and is whipped to first in time, 2 outs. And Tyler Flowers, the final hope for the Braves in the second. Braves began the second half of the season in Washington, and they beat the Nationals that day 8-5. It was the Braves' 53rd win of the year. Anibal Sanchez got the victory, beating Washington for the 10th time in 11 decisions. They beat Steven Strasburg, and that was when Braves began their push toward the top of the Eastern Division race. And the old saying, if you want to get to postseason play, you have to play well within your division. It means you have to beat your divisional opponents. And for a good long stretch during the Nationals' run to the Eastern Division title, they really took care of business against the Braves. But Atlanta's turned that around this year, winning 10 of the first 18 head-to-head. So the point being, you want to knock off the division champion? Well, win the games head-to-head against them the following season, and Atlanta's done that.
Yeah, they've done a fantastic job, not only against the Nationals, but the National League East as a whole. That's really where they've established this lead and established their position in first place.
And they've done well against Max Scherzer, too.
Yeah, dare we say he's actually been a mere mortal
Right.
when he's faced Atlanta. Swing and a miss. Flowers didn't get the off-speed pitch, and Roark has his second strikeout of the inning and of the game. Dog day afternoon for the Braves offense so far. It's 3-0 Washington going to the third.
A home run to center field, 430 feet to straightaway center, 431. You see where it landed? Right there?
Yep.
Okay. Just wanted to see if you saw that. His 34th homer of the year. Back on April 2nd, Bryce Harper was batting against Sean Newcomb. That's called a flashback. He launched one to center. Now, you might want to pay particular attention to that where I showed you the first one landed, because the second one landed exact same place. Ward measured at 431 and 6 inches.
Wow. So here's Harper again for the Nationals, leading off the 3rd inning. They jumped out to a 3-0 advantage. So, Joe, I'll ask you the question I asked Tom and Jeff on Friday night. Is Bryce Harper going to be a National on opening day 2019? You had to put the mortgage on the table. Say yes or no. Is Harper going to come back to Washington?
I'm going to say no.
No? No balls and a strike to him. Well, he will not lack for suitors if that's the case.
No. And I think because of that, if it gets into a bidding war, I just don't see the Nationals doing that. I can see them spending an equal amount of money on 3 or 4 players. That might make them maybe a little more well-rounded. None of them would probably be as good as Bryce Harper, but it might make them a better team.
And I think it's safe to say that the Washington club, as every team does in the offseason, will have needs next year. Matt Wieters isn't getting any younger. For example, they were linked with JT Realmuto during the trade deadline. Is Defoe going to be their everyday second baseman now that Daniel Murphy's been traded away? If Harper leaves, you're going to need an outfielder unless you're confident that Eaton's 100%. Robles can play every day. You know about Soto. That one's fouled away.
Boy, is that a quick bat. Still, I mean, it's not like he's an old man by any means.
No.
We know that's not the case. Still a violently fast swing.
2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody on or out. And that stayed high. There were some reports that said the Philadelphia Phillies will have a lot of money to spend in the offseason, and that Bryce Harper is at or near the top of their list, as well as Manny Machado. That would be an unbelievable combination with Rhys Hoskins in the middle of the lineup to go with that very good starting pitching staff that's young.
That would be pretty incredible. Be able to afford both guys.
Yeah, plug either one of those guys in the middle there, and that's certainly pretty formidable.
Yeah, imagine those guys hitting in that ballpark 81 times, especially Harper. Yikes. 3-2 pitch. And it missed outside. A leadoff walk. So Newcomb with his second walk. And Rendon, who earned the first, is the next Nationals hitter. Braves have now walked 22 Nationals in this series. They walked 31 men in Arizona. So counting the 2 today by Newcomb, the Braves have walked 60 men in 10 games.
That's obviously not good. Needs to be corrected, fixed, whatever you want to call it.
You can walk 2 or 3 a game, and none of them will score.
Driven toward right. Markakis on the run. He turns. That ball is inside the pole and gone. It's a home run on the first pitch by Rendon. So a couple of 2-run homers for the Nationals, Harper and Rendon, and all of a sudden it's 5-0. 20th home run for Rendon and 75 RBIs.
Well, that was the other key. Rendon. Guys on in front of him. And as I started to say, you walk a couple of guys, maybe they don't score. You walk 5 or 6 a game, it's a good chance that some of those guys are going to score. And one just did.
So it's 5-0 Nationals. And Juan Soto is the batter. And that's inside a ball. Again, this is a very dangerous Nationals team still. They are not eliminated. After this game, they head down to Miami to play the Marlins while the Braves entertain the Cardinals, who are battling for their playoff lives. 3-game series against St. Louis starts here tomorrow night. One slight advantage, you hope, is that the Cardinals have the Sunday night game tonight. They're home against the Dodgers, who've come to St. Louis and walloped them in the first 3.
Well, what a game for Puig yesterday and the day before.
Yeah, Puig hit 3 homers yesterday. Drove in 7 runs. Dodgers have hit a homer in 35 consecutive games. 1-2 pitch. He is off the plate. 2-2 to Soto.
Well, their team certainly can hit a lot of home runs. No question about that. And they have found the long ball in St. Louis again.
And so the Dodgers with their win. And Colorado losing in shutout fashion twice in a row to the Giants, believe it or not. LA is a half game ahead of Colorado and 4 games ahead of Arizona out west. 3-2 pitch is cut on and missed. Soto's down on strikes. And there's the first out of the inning.
Good pitch there. 3-2 changeup. Pitch that I think has to become more of a weapon for Sean, and that was a good one there.
Great spot. Colorado offense is hard to figure based on what we saw here for a 4-game series.
Yeah.
Remember, they were taking on a Giants team that had set a record 11 straight losses, the most ever since the team moved to San Francisco.
Bumgarner pitched last night. Okay, that can happen certainly. But they got shut out the night before too. That one was the one that surprised me.
Yeah, the Rockies are 41-33 at home and 40-34 on the road. That one's a missile into left field, a base hit by Zimmerman with 1 out. Sean's not fooling many hitters so far in the early going, and Kyle Wright has begun to throw in the Braves pen. And here's Wieters. He too with a first inning single. Five runs on 6 hits for Washington. A couple of 2-run homers by Harper and Rendon have hurt. And over the inside corner, a strike. Phillies are home with Miami this afternoon. Nick Pivetta and Jose Urena are the respective pitchers. Phillies have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 3rd. Phillies start play 6.5 behind the Braves. Phillies have already won the first 2 games of that series. It's their first series win since the early days of August.
Against Miami.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and in the dirt. It's 2-2.
Cesar Hernandez, who hit a big home run last night for them, homered today.
Wow. That's down the line in right, and no play from Markakis. Still 2-2. 65 pitches through 2 1/3 innings for Newcomb today. Now the pitch. Flowers thought that was good enough. Might have been.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
So Flowers and Phil Cuzzy talking that one over.
Certainly could have been a strike.
Hard to get that back door called sometimes. He used that slow curveball of his a lot in San Francisco early in the count. Even to start a hitter, he might throw one just as a get over pitch for a strike and get on top of things.
That's popped up. Ozzie will give chase. And in shallow right says he's got it, and he does. And Wieters is the second out. Zimmerman back to first, and Adrian Sanchez the hitter. Sanchez popped out to center in his lone at bat. And I love stories like this guy. As Joe mentioned, he's been in their system a long time. Finally rewarded with a shot at the big leagues last year. And again with a good season at AAA this year. Gets a look in September. And as a second baseman, as I mentioned, that's got to be a spot where the Nationals are going to be looking either in free agency, in the trade market, or maybe this guy will impress enough to get a look in spring training. 996 minor league games for Sanchez.
And wasn't willing to do anything different other than just try to get better and get to the big leagues. So congrats to him.
And out of play foul. 1 ball 2 strikes. Just at first glance, watching the way he finishes his swing, it reminds me of Jose Bautista for some reason.
Well, Jose was kind of a late bloomer.
One ball 2 strikes. And pulled foul to third. Yeah, Bautista had to bounce around several organizations, several different positions, and then finally made his way to Toronto, and his life changed forever. Reworked his swing, and the rest, they say, is history. Great career as he's finishing up 2018 with the Phillies now. His 3rd team this year. Also had a pit stop with the Mets. And a swing and a miss. And that retires the side. A 2-run homer by Rendon after a leadoff walk extends the Nationals' lead.
is sponsored by Sherwin-Williams, your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
Looper trying to outmuscle Bryce Harper, who's already showed off his strength with a 430-foot homer in the first inning. Nationals enjoy a 5-0 lead after 2.5 here at SunTrust Park. Anthony Rendon added a 2-run blast a moment ago, his 20th. And now Dansby Swanson will lead off ahead of the pitcher spot. It looks like Sean Newcomb's day is going to come to a quick end after 3 innings. Rio Ruiz has grabbed a bat and will pinch hit.
Sean didn't look comfortable today. I don't know if it had anything to do with grip. But he never got on any kind of roll at all.
Yeah, spotty command on his fastball. Didn't seem to have any feel for his breaking ball today.
So that was a disappointing outcome after such good work against the Giants out west. And a 1-1 pitch coming to Dansby Swanson. And that one is poked into left center field. That's down for the second Atlanta hit. And the first leadoff hit of the day for the Braves. So Rio Ruiz will pinch hit here in the home third.
Nice job by Dansby to stay in there and just fight that off.
So his first hit of the series has the Braves in business with nobody out. So let's see what Rio can do. He is 0 for 3 this year. All 3 of those opportunities in pinch hit assignments. And that's a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Rio is with the ball club from August 26th through the 30th. So this is his second stint since joining from Gwinnett. And Roark missed to him. Ball 2. Cue shot foul. Rio got to the Braves in 2016 at the major league level for the first time. 2017 played in 53 games, got 150 at bats. Hit 4 homers, drove in 19, scored 22. Remember, he was part of the Fulton-Evich deal that sent Evan Gattis to the Astros. And that's outside, ball 3. Let's see if Roark will pitch himself in trouble here with a 5-run lead. Acuna waits on deck. First to 3-1 pitch. And called a strike.
Right at the bottom of the zone.
84-mile-an-hour changeup on a 3-1 count. Wasn't received well, but it appeared to be a strike. Runner goes. Pitch bang foul. And Dansby will head back to first. Reds lead the Cubs 1-0. First inning at Wrigley Field in Chicago. That's Castillo and Quintana. Cubs have 3 consecutive 1-run wins, but they're down early at home today. Cubs got some good news. Brandon Morrow pitched in a simulated game. He may be close to returning for Chicago.
They could use him in the pen, certainly.
They lost Pedro Strop to a hamstring while running the bases the other day. Cubs with a 2.5 game lead over the Brewers in the Central. Dansby leaning but chased back. Again he goes. The pitch is downstairs. Ball 4. Good at bat by Rio. And the Braves are in business. First and second. Nobody out. First walk for Roark.
Took a while, but that snapped his 28 straight innings without a walk.
Since August the 16th. And now let's see if Acuna can make him pay with a long ball. He's our Yellowwood brand bringing the lumber feature.
20 games. 16 RBIs. Great on base percentage.
And again, it was the subtle move by Brian Snitker to put Acuna in the leadoff spot on July 20th. First game out of the break. And boy, did Acuna take to it quickly. In that game, he singled, doubled, homered, scored 3, stole 2, and drove in 1. After ending the first half in a 4 for 30 slump at the plate.
Kind of made it easy to slot him in there the next day, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure Brian came to the park and thought, okay, where do I start?
Yeah, he only had 3 hits the next day. Didn't score any runs, though. 2 hits, 2 walks the day after that. And the rest, they say, is history. And the first chance for Atlanta. 2 on, nobody out. I just love seeing how carefully teams are pitching him no matter the situation.
Yeah. I think a lot of teams are surprised that he's not offering it some of those borderline pitches. Got such a good eye.
Dansby and Rio, the runners. The pitch lashed out of play. I don't know if we have a stopwatch quick enough to time it, but I would love to see a comparison of the bat speed of Acuna and Bryce Harper. We know what Harper's swing can do. We've already seen that today. We'd love a similar result from Acuna right here. The pitch is low. Ball 3. Ozzie waits next. Freddie Freeman in the hole for Atlanta. Down 5-0. Popped him up. And Robles in straightaway center. Barely had to move. There's the catch. Dansby fakes a tag and won't advance. So Acuna's the first out. Albies the batter. He's 0 for 1.
Scouting reports on Robles in center field is that he's a very good outfielder with a strong arm. And has excellent speed for covering that area out there, but a better than average arm too.
So Roark gets the first out. He's gotten 4 pop outs in the game, all of them from the first 4 Atlanta hitters. He got Ozzie to lift one into foul ground at third base that Rendon tracked down for the second out of the first inning. Albies sitting on 39 doubles and 99 runs. Fly ball to right at Harper. No chance for Dansby to advance. So first and second, nobody out. Top of the order. No advance, no runs yet. Freddie Freeman, the final hope here in the third. Freeman ambushed the first pitch while the Nationals defense was still in motion and singled for the first Braves hit. Ball 1. Freddie's got 87 RBIs. Pickoff play at second, and Swanson safely back. Not a bad idea. If you catch the base runner napping, you start the next inning with Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, if you don't, you maybe keep him a step or two closer and make it tougher for him to score on a base hit.
I'd much rather Freddie be up there with two guys on. So don't get picked off.
Good pitch, even count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Freddie third in the league in hits with 174. Looking for his second hit of the series. And the 1-1. Just missed. Braves have a shot this year with Albies, Markakis, and Freeman to have 3 players with 40 or more doubles. Last team to do that was the 2011 Kansas City Royals, who had 4 players to do it. It was last accomplished in the National League in 2006 by Garrett Atkins, Todd Helton, and Matt Holliday of the Rockies. So this has been an extra base hitting Braves club most of the summer. Need a couple of those today. Freddie awaits the 2-2 and poke that foul. How'd he save that pitch?
77-mile-an-hour curveball, able to keep his hands back just enough.
That's what he does so well. Spoils those pitches, makes the pitcher make another good pitch, and banks on a mistake.
Good news in Philadelphia. Miami's taken the lead in the 4th inning. Marlins 2, Phillies 1.
Our old pal Jose Urena pitching that game for Miami, right?
Yeah, and he's been good of late.
He has been.
In fact, since Acuna-Apalooza, 2.22 ERA over his last 4 starts. Now that he's got the lead, hope he can hold it. 2-2 pitch, 2 on, 2 out. And a swing and a miss retires the side. Wasted opportunity for the Braves. 2 on, nobody out. Can't get him over or in. And Roark leads off the 4th against Kyle Wright, leading 5-0. Trust Park, Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Kelsey Wingert with you. Let's take a look at our player profile brought to you by Verizon. Kyle Wright is in his 3rd big league game.
One real good one and one that involved a bunch of walks that cost him a run. But that first game, Tommy, that debut against Boston, 2 innings, a walk and 2 strikeouts. He was really good.
That was impressive. Red Sox team that certainly was not shy on hits that series, and he came in for 2 innings and just said, here you go, boys, here's my fastball, and got after it, and it was impressive.
Wright, the Braves' first-round pick in 2017, the 5th overall selection last year, is the first player from the 2017 draft to get to the big leagues after 3 outstanding years at Vanderbilt. And he faces Tanner Roark, and that one is taken low, ball 1. Fellas mentioned that debut against the Red Sox. Wright struck out Jackie Bradley on 5 pitches. First major league hitter he saw. And these are important innings for Kyle Wright because the Braves, assuming they win the division, have some interesting bullpen decisions to make. And guys like Kyle Wright and Touki Toussaint might get to pitch very meaningful innings in relief in postseason play. But you can't walk people. And certainly not the pitcher on 4 pitches. Touki came in and had a bunch of walks yesterday in a relief stint for Atlanta. So right back to the stretch and in the soup with the top of the order coming up, and Roark at first.
Well, it's been a constant problem of late with the bullpen walking guys, no question about it. I mean, walks in general, but particularly for the bullpen guys, and seems eerily reminiscent of April early in the season when it seemed to be a really bad problem that they fixed throughout the course of the middle of the year, it seems, and now it's reared its ugly head again.
And in keeping with that, it's not just walks, it's that first guy face that's reaching. Now this was
sharply hit. Ozzie can't get that. Robles with an opposite field single.
This was the pitcher, so it's doubly egregious that he reached, but let alone on a walk. But the first guy faced by the bullpen is going to be such a huge thing if and when they do clinch and get to the postseason. More often than not, you're going to be coming into a situation with guys on base. That first man's so important.
And it seems so easy. I mean, those of us who are non-athletes say, don't walk people, right? But Wright and Newcomb, they're not trying to do it. No. They just are. So how do you correct that? I mean,
you know, you're right. I mean, the easy thing, the layman person just says, come on, don't walk anybody. And, you know, when there's a pitcher, you're going, geez, I hadn't thought of that. You know, it's if it was that easy, you wouldn't do it. And a lot of it is just either you're not real comfortable with where you are, or you're giving those hitters that you're facing a little bit too much credit, or a combination of both. And then, you know, sometimes you start trying to be ultra fine instead of just, you know, pick halves of the plates or thirds of the plates and attack there. You know, I always felt like if your location on a given day is not great, then, you know, start pitching to an outer half or an inner half and give yourself a little bit of margin for error. And the next thing you know, at least in your mind, you're going, oh, I'm really throwing strikes today. You know, when you get that positive feedback, now you can kind of narrow your margin of error a little bit more once you get that feel and that confidence that, hey, I'm throwing strikes. You know, but if you're going out there and immediately you're trying to pitch guys on the black, and you're not able to do that, and you walk guys, well, now you're in trouble. You know, like Joe says all the time, we say it all the time. Walks in a postseason are issues, and they're rallies, and now you're pitching defensively.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Don't walk him.
Right. And again, I know these guys in the bullpen, they've heard it, and it's been talked about. Whether they want to hear it or not, you know, it's out there. They're going to hear it inevitably. So what's their thought process? I'm going to come in there. Okay, well, I don't want to walk guys. Well, immediately you put yourself in a defensive mode. Sure. You know, you can't go out there and tell yourself, hey, don't do this, because you're going to do it.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And that's off the plate. Full count for Turner.
And I would say, too, that in defense of Kyle Wright, he hasn't pitched in 9 days.
Right.
He had the the 2-inning stint and the 1-inning stint, but the last one where he walked some guys was in Arizona. So it's been a few days for it to come back around to him as a young guy. Okay, this is a spot, we're down 5, we can get a few innings out of him. Well, it's kind of hard to come in and just immediately be sharp and be on your game.
So he's got a mess on his hands here. 2 on, nobody out. Trey Turner, the National shortstop who singled and scored already, now faces a 3-2 pitch. And it's launched down the line into the seats. Washington got 3 in the first, 2 in the third. That ended the day for Sean Newcomb, who allowed all 5 runs in 3 innings today. Tanner Roark has left 3 Braves on base and has scattered just 2 hits. And that's popped out of play again.
Pretty good 3-2 breaking ball.
Yeah, 3-2 changeup, foul ball, and comes back with a 3-2 breaking ball. That's good confidence there. Unfortunately, Turner spoiled a good one there.
Ground ball, Dansby gloves. He's going to throw to third, and that's all he had. What a play by Swanson to get to the ball and still make an accurate throw to Culberson, and the Braves force Roark for the first out. Boy, have we seen Dansby turn in some great glove work in the last week.
Sure have. And for a second, I didn't think he was going to be able to get it out of his glove in time. Right there. It was like, get out of there.
That's a great play.
Outstanding. So here's this guy again.
Harper has homered, walked, scored 2, driven home 2. Let's see if Atlanta can turn 2 and get out of this inning. Low, ball 1. 2 years ago, Kyle Wright was pitching in the SEC. 2 years later, he's pitching in September for the Braves against the Nationals and Bryce Harper.
And not just a September showcase, but a meaningful game, meaningful inning.
Discussion between Phil Cuzzi and Tyler Flowers. That pitch was close, called a ball. 2-0 the count. Miami 3, Phillies 1 in the 5th inning at Citizens Bank. Here it's 5-0 Washington. 2 balls, no strikes for Harper.
I like that pitch. I know it wasn't a strike, but he almost got a swing out of it, and it was inside enough that he couldn't have done anything with it if he had swung at it.
Right.
He will be hacking though. 3-0. Think Bryce Harper's ever had the take sign?
Less than a couple times.
Maybe his rookie year for about a week. He won't have it here. 3 balls and a strike. And that missed outside. The Braves get the righty-righty matchup. with Rendon, but the bases are loaded. So a good take by Harper, who's now walked 118 times this year. And Chuck Hernandez back to the mound. He's been wearing out a path between the Braves dugout and the hill in this series.
I don't care if you're the most diehard Braves fan, as we are. You gotta respect and appreciate Bryce Harper and what kind of hitter he is. He reminds me of when we would watch Barry Bonds come to the plate. You may not like him. You may hate the fact that he plays for the opposing team and your arch rival, who Bonds was on at that time. But you gotta love watching the guy hit.
No question. I think it's one of those. He's one of those guys in sport that, yeah, you absolutely, you may not like him, but you know, you have to have an appreciation for what he's done, the kind of player that he is.
I think that's the right word.
Yeah,
an appreciation. Yeah.
You know, you hate seeing him do well against your team, obviously.
Right.
But there's got to be an appreciation level for, you know, what he's able to do as a player.
Remember Bob Uecker's line in Major League when he was talking about Doyle for the Yankees, I think it was, and he changed teams to play on his club, and he said, you know, it's funny how your perspective changes when he wears your uniform.
Yeah.
And that's I think the ultimate sign of respect.
Yeah.
Imagine Bryce Harper as a Brave. Yeah. You'd love him.
Oh, of course you would. I mean,
right?
these fans that come to this ballpark that hate him right now, they would like nothing more than to see him wearing an A next year.
Heck yeah.
And that's, you know, that to me, that shows that you're a star in the game. And when you go on the road and you have that vitriol against you when you're on the road, that tells you you've done something.
2-0 to Rendon after Harper walked. Bases are loaded for the Nationals. 1 out. Braves have walked 1, 2, 3, 4 hitters so far in the game. And now Shane Carl has gotten up. Three and 0.
See, and that's the thing that happens a lot of times too, right? You have scouting reports, you have, you know, these situations. Of course, most guys in baseball are good fastball hitters, but when you're constantly trying to get ahead of guys with your off-speed secondary stuff, and you don't, now when you go to that fastball, you've got zero margin for error, and it makes it really difficult to try and spot up.
Got that one called. 3-1.
There was a call a little bit ago where we said, well, it could have been called a strike. Well, that could have been called a ball.
Yeah.
It was off the plate a little bit.
I think Rendon's grumbling about that. He was thinking about his 3rd RBI. He's still in the driver's seat. 3-1 the count. Robles, Turner, and Harper the runners. And a blooper towards second. Ozzy's going to track that down. So there's the second out of the inning. Rendon pops out. And here's Soto with the bases loaded.
That one hung up just long enough.
That was not ruled an infield fly, by the way. Soft line drive, play made nonetheless. And here's Soto, who is singled and struck out.
Yeah, good comeback there by Kyle. Now you got an opportunity to finish the inning. Make some pitches.
And he gets ahead of the hitter. Soto not sure about that. How about that hook?
Love it. You know, if he didn't like the call the first time, throw another one, same place.
Absolutely.
And he did.
So he's a strike away from getting out of a mess of his own making here. Don't forget the great play at short by Dansby might have saved a run already. Now the 0-2. Foul right off his foot, and you heard Soto groan as that ball bounced foul at first.
Wide stance, wide setup, and right off the ankle or instep. Painful.
Yeah. So I'd love to see him come back with a fastball in right here.
He still can't feel his foot.
That wide stance of his, and he's up off his right heel when he's in his stance, that's going to hurt just in his setup.
Kyle Wright ready. The pitch is outside. It's 1-2. Soto's gotten on base in 21 straight games. He too a very patient hitter. A lot of walks for him. And he takes that one in the dirt. Soto enters play today with 74 walks. That's the most by a teenager in 118 seasons.
Is that right? That's really impressive.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot Friday night with him and Acuna. It's amazing for such young hitters, their discipline and understanding in the strike zone, and also of not, as you mentioned earlier with Acuna, just not chasing those pitches off the strike zone.
Lifted toward left, and from one rookie to another, Soto flies out, and Wright gets out of the mess. He walks two, and a great play at short by Dansby Swanson helped bail him out. Home fourth coming up. It's 5-0 Nationals. Well, Phil Cuzzi will file his report and ejection in between innings. Bench coach Chip Hale was run by Phil Cuzzi. Who has had enough And if I had to guess, he's grumbling about the pitch that was called a strike to Rendon that would have turned in another run.
That'd be a good guess. Good place to start.
But it's Rendon who's still in the game. And the Braves down 5 send Markakis, Culberson, and Inciarte up.
All the time we've watched Anthony Rendon play, I've never seen him really riled up, you know, where he lost his composure. I'm sure there have been times where he's argued, but keeps his cool pretty good.
Well, how many times have we seen it? One team loads the bases, doesn't score. The other team oftentimes does. Hopefully that's the case for the Braves here. Markakis, Culberson, and Inciarte up for the second time against Tanner Roark, who missed inside. Ball 1. Cardinals are here tomorrow night.
It's often followed by an 8-run 4th inning.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that.
Look it up.
Okay.
Oh, we'll have Jared do it. Look it up. I'm sure it's there.
1-1 pitch, out of play, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now Jared Burleson upstairs in our press box this afternoon, our ace stat man.
Everybody in your family okay in the Carolinas? Good. Thumbs up, he said.
One ball, 2 strikes. And taken low. 2-2. And hope the same can be said for all of our great fans in Braves country in North Carolina and South Carolina. As tropical storm Florence makes her way north. Lined into center, right at Robles, who retreats a step or 2. Hard hit, but there's out number 1. Let's take a look at today's Coors Timeless Moment. It's been a great year for Charlie Culberson, and especially so against the Nationals. Let's flash back to June 3rd.
Tanner Roark in relief. His only relief appearance of the year. Just in time to give that up.
Charlie's hit 11 homers this year. 5 have come against Washington pitching. Downstairs, ball 1. Joe, let me ask you this from an offensive player's standpoint. We've harped, and rightfully so, on all the walks the Braves pitchers have given up and the rallies that has borne for the opposition. From a position player's standpoint, what kind of toll does that take you as you take that defensive standing around into your plate appearance the next inning or so?
There still might be a little feeling of being flat-footed at the plate as well. You know, a little numbness because you are just doing a lot of standing around. But where it gets you is if those walks lead to a big inning and you feel like, man, we got a big mountain to climb today. And the hard part is to realize you can't get it all back in one swing.
That's kind of the fate for Atlanta. As this one's hammered down the line, did he keep it fair? That's near the pole, and that ball is foul. Culberson almost hit another one out of the park, missed by feet. Three in the first, 2 in the third for the Nats. Braves have scattered 2 hits, and Roark's walked only 1 man. There's a shot headed toward right, but Harper glides over. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Ender quickly. Base is empty for him. He bounced out to Trey Turner.
This to me is the typical Tanner Roark game pitched against Atlanta. More often than not, he's not striking out a bunch of guys. Likewise, he's not walking a bunch. He's making the Braves put it in play at people. We talked about those last 2 starts, Tommy, maybe last 3. None of that really means anything to me when he pitches because of how well I've seen him pitch against the Braves before.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's smart enough to know with a big lead, pound the strike zone.
Yeah. 31 years old, 6'2", 240, 63 big league wins.
A ball, 1 strike. for Ender. Mention the good run that Ender's been on. He's our Synovus Greatness Made Here feature. Terrific 3-week stretch, and even more so since the break.
And great numbers himself against Roark.
Braves fans didn't have much to cheer about yesterday. They've been quiet so far in this one, with a 5-run ambush by the Nationals in the first 3 innings. Harper and Rendon with the homers. And Ender takes ball 4. A second walk by Roark. This one comes with 2 outs. Tyler struck out. That's one of 3 punch outs for Tanner Roark in the game. So Tyler's 0 for 1. Right off his knuckles and out of play, a strike. Good pitch. Reds still lead the Cubs at Wrigley 1-0 in the 3rd. Pirates 1-0 over Milwaukee in the 4th. Brewers cannot beat the Pirates.
There's always that one team every year.
It's amazing. Like. If Milwaukee doesn't win the Central, they can blame the Bucks. Brewers are 5-10 against Pittsburgh this year.
Remember that 5-game sweep
right before the All-Star break?
That also had a doubleheader in there, I believe.
Brewers have been held to 3 runs or less 9 times in the 15 games head-to-head with the Pirates this year. A long way to go in that one. The pitch is way high, 1-2.
I appreciate the way Jim Riggleman's Reds are playing too down the stretch. They're making it hard on everybody. They may not win every day by any means, but they're playing good baseball and making it tough.
One-two count. No swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, the Reds have a decision to make at the end of the season regarding Jim Riggleman. He is the interim manager, replacing Brian Price. No guarantees that Jim Riggleman will get that job on a full-time basis. 4th interim managerial job in Jim Riggleman's career. The pitch. Did he go that time? No, he didn't.
Ooh.
Roark wanted that one.
Oh, Jeff Nelson was standing, getting his stance ready to ring him up.
And I could just hear Chip Hale in the Washington locker room. How's that not a strike? But the pitch to Rendon was.
You know, somewhere somebody said it.
Yes. Runner goes 3-2 is hammered toward left. That's down the line. That ball is gone. A home run.
I don't really want to know what he's saying right now. Like Tyler kind of tomahawked that. Back in the game.
Talk all the time, Joe, about how every pitch means so much. Went up and got it after he may have gotten a break on a check swing.
No doubt about it. I was just hoping it would stay up long enough.
Yep.
Be high enough to clear the fence.
Yeah, got a couple fastballs by him early in the count to get ahead 0-2 in there, and then try to go one more time, and Tyler got him.
So Dansby Swanson, the hitter. And again, the Nationals load the bases, didn't score. The Braves come back with 2 themselves, and now trail by 3 with a lot of time left. It's a 5-2 score in the home 4th.
Yeah, and that kind of breathes a little life into everything about this game. It just kind of feels like a drab ho-hum game up to this point right now, and not much going on, but now you're right back in it.
Ricochets around the Nationals dugout. Foul. 0-2. Dansby with a leadoff hit in the third. Again, the Braves had first and second, nobody out, but couldn't move them over or in. So Dansby can manufacture something here with 2 outs. Miami extends their lead in Philly. It's now 4-1 Marlins behind Jose Urena. Atlanta's magic number is 9. To win the East, the pitch. And foul again. Tell you what, another team I'm glad we don't have to face the rest of the way is Tampa Bay.
Ooh, you got that right.
You know, the Tampa Bay Rays have a chance to win their 82nd game this year today. Last report they were beating Oakland. What a job Kevin Cash has done with the Rays in that opener, which has been so beneficial to them. Little pop up on the right side, and Zimmerman will take care of that. And Atlanta in the 4th inning. A walk, a check swing that was called a ball, and then Tyler Flowers hits a home run. Tyler Flowers' home run gets the Braves back in the game. It's now a 5-2 score after 4 innings. Kyle Wright's back to work. Zimmerman, Wieters, and Sanchez coming up. Figure this will be his last inning. He's due to hit first when the Braves come up in the 5th inning. Let's see if he can have a nice, relaxing, uneventful 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah, let's see if he kind of got his bearings last inning, where things are more quickly directed at the strike zone.
First 2 pitches lead you to believe that that's the case. One ball, 2 strikes. 6-1 Miami now in Philadelphia. All help appreciated.
Go fish.
Dansby gets the hop he wants. Center wins the first out. Wright's retired 3 straight. Good start to the inning. And Wieters, the catcher, is coming up. Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Equally important when you get to postseason, and I'm not putting the cart before the horse just yet, but just making a point that if walks are rallies, so are errors. The Braves by and large have played good defense all year. They've had their days where they haven't, but you give good teams extra outs in the postseason, that seems to come back and bite you every time too.
Dansby hardly had to move on that line drive. Wieters the second out.
And as we saw just a few, last half inning when Dansby made that nice play to the hole and got the out at third base, that prevented what could have been a killer inning.
And that'll bring up Adrian Sanchez, who's 0 for 2. I'm sure that's what angered Chip Hale, who was ejected. He knows how good the Braves have been in the late innings. He knows how effective they have been scoring with 2 outs. And he gave Phil Cuzzy an earful and was now forced to sit with Fred Stone for the next 2 hours.
Oh.
Chip, we sympathize. Strike 1. And these are extremely important innings for Wright, not just for big league experience, but to Joe's point about not putting the cart before the horse. If the Braves qualify for postseason play, Kyle's got a chance to maybe pitch out of the bullpen.
Sure.
So this is an experience gathering mission for him.
For those 2 guys right there in particular, show me what you got.
Yep. 2-1 pitch. Broken bat, grounder to Dansby. He gloves, grabs, guns to first, and it is a very nice, efficient inning for Kyle Wright. 3 up, 3 down, 2 scoreless innings for the youngster, and the Braves bats go to work.
5-2, a very efficient inning for Kyle right there in the top half. And we've told you about all the great work that the Atlanta Braves are doing to help the evacuees of Hurricane Florence. They offered the free tickets all weekend long. They offered the free access to Hope and Will Sandlot, the discounted concession stands as well. And you know what? They've given over 7,500 free tickets to evacuees. They're also donating the proceeds from that 50-50 raffle ticket that they do every day. We'll wait to get a final word on how much that's going to be. And, you know, we're sure that you've seen all of those pictures and videos. Our thoughts and our prayers, Braves country, with you in the Carolinas. I know Chip, Joe, and Tom mentioned it earlier, but Braves country, we love you, and we're thinking of you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Yeah, great gesture by the Braves this weekend. As Preston Tucker leads off for Atlanta. Kyle Wright, 2 scoreless innings. And the first pitch popped up over the screen and out of play for strike 1. You know, when you get to the final moments of a long regular season, it's easy to forget the contributions that were made in the early weeks 6 months ago. Remember, Preston Tucker was the starting left fielder for this ball club in the first weeks of the year. And Tucker came up with some gigantic hits for Atlanta.
He was a 3-run homer specialist, wasn't he?
Yes,
early
he
on?
was.
Yes, he was, including one against these Nationals, as this one squibbed toward third. Rendon, long throw, and got it. What a play by Rendon.
How did he make such an accurate throw?
The Braves are going to take a look and see, as Rendon had to range about 30 feet to his right and throw off balance to get his man.
Well, safer out. That's impressive play.
And I think the Braves are going to challenge this call. And yes, Tucker against these Washington Nationals on April 3rd. Hit a big 3-run homer off A.J. Cole. He hit a 3-run homer off Max Scherzer the next day.
It's got a chance of getting overturned.
Is there enough clear and convincing evidence for that to happen? Now, Preston Tucker had 9 RBIs in the first 7 games of the season for Atlanta. And will he be rewarded with an infield pinch hit single here in the 5th after review? As Joe mentioned, in what's been a down year for the Nationals, they've had an up year defensively. And Rendon, known for his bat, just made a great play with his glove, and he gets the first out.
Well, that'll make all the highlight reels.
And it should.
He's only made 5 errors all year at third base.
And he hits enough to win the Gold Glove.
Yes.
But there's a guy in Colorado that's perennially in the way, and that's Nolan Arenado. So Roark gets the first out. Here's Acuna. He's popped out twice, once to first, once to center. And he takes ball 1 inside. Perfect pitcher's pitch evens the count.
One of the things that impresses me about this knowledge of the zone is maybe part of his plan that he's going up. Maybe he's looking for a particular pitch, and when he doesn't get it, he doesn't swing.
Another one lifted into shallow center, and Robles almost overran it, but he made the play. 2 out.
It's easy for a young player to have that mindset that, okay, I'm going to look for the fastball and get a slider like he got a minute ago, and becomes very difficult not to swing. You read the pitch wrong. He doesn't seem to do that.
So Ozzie hits with the bases empty and looks outside. Ball one. It's time for today's player resume, brought to you by Indeed. See what Albies has done in day games this year.
Big numbers. 12 and 28. Braves are 28 and 20 as a team in day games.
Pitch number 85 coming up for Roark. And that pushed him off the plate. 3-1. Walk and a homer would be okay.
That worked pretty well an inning ago.
Yeah. And that came with 2 outs. Ender walked. Flowers hit a homer into the Nationals bullpen. That stroke towards center. Robles on the run. Still going. Still going. He got it. What a play. Robles with an incredible catch in full stride. Hauled it in at the last moment to rob Albies of an extra base hit.
Wow, did he cover some ground.
That's a pretty good defense turned in by the Nationals this inning.
Robles with an incredible catch ends the 5th. A 5-2 Washington lead.
Visit Synovus for your banking, lending, and investing needs. Synovus, the bank of here.
Third pitcher of the day is on for the Braves. Shane Carl will start the 6th inning. Tanner Roark, the pitcher, will get things going.
Number for Shane on the year, 51st appearance. First appearance in this series. In fact, he worked 3 of the 4 games in Arizona and did not pitch in San Francisco either.
So he should be well rested. Let's hope he's not well rusted. As this one's grounded to the left side, Charlie's got it. And an easy throw to first is the first out of the inning. The Braves have sent down the last 6 Nationals in order. 2019 Delta Sky 360 club memberships are on sale. As a club member, you'll take in the games at padded field level seats behind home plate, and you'll get complimentary in-seat food and beverage service, VIP parking, and a whole lot more. It's the perfect way to entertain clients and prospects For a full list of Delta Sky 360 Club benefits, head to braves.com/premium. Hate to say it, but that catch by Robles was one of the best we've seen all year against the Braves.
Yeah, that was a beauty. And like Tom said, he went a long way for it, too.
So if Bryce Harper goes, you might be looking at a Soto, Eaton, Robles outfield for the Nationals, with Michael Taylor in the mix as well, I would think.
Be some speed out there.
One ball, two strikes to Robles, who singled last time up. He's also flied out to center twice. And this one's pulled to third. Nice play to Charlie's right, to a knee, and a strike to first. Charlie can play some third base too. I tell you what, between him and Camargo, is there a better throwing tandem at third base in the National League?
Came up and fired a laser to Freddie on this one.
That certainly is one of the luxuries Snit has, with Camargo being a little bit banged up. With somebody like Culberson you can plug in over there, you can give Camargo an extra day or two if you need, and not feel like you're giving up too much over there.
And what a difference it makes when you throw a first pitch strike. Carl's done that in this inning. He's gotten the first two outs. Now he's got Turner behind 0-1. In the Atlanta sixth, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, and Charlie Culberson will be due. Still a manageable game. It's 5-2, however, Washington in front.
That kind of swing hurts.
Yeah.
It's hard on your wrists.
It's just such a good pitch. Change up in. You got guys geared for fastball hard in. Get that change up and you can get swings like that.
Two balls, two strikes.
You were talking about early season contributions, Chip. Here's another guy, he and Dan Winkler, and the job they did early in the season out of the bullpen for Atlanta.
Swing and a miss. That's more like it. Back-to-back perfect innings for the Braves relief corps. Wright and Carl. Shane works a 1-2-3 sixth, and the middle of the order's coming up. There's a look at the Battery Atlanta live on our Xfinity cam. The Battery buzzing today with the Braves in action. All the NFL action. Boy, it was busy yesterday with the Bravos and Nationals, college football, and all that excitement. And hopefully the fans will head to the Battery happy after a comeback victory today. The 6th inning starts with Freddie Freeman, who's got the first Atlanta hit of the day, 1 of 3 in total. Roark is pushing toward 100 pitches, and Freddie Freeman, our Georgia lottery, hitting the jackpot.
There's a heavy-duty supporter of the Braves' work against the East this year.
Freddie is 22 for 68 against the Nationals at the plate.
There's Ryan Zimmerman having some fun.
Yeah, just in case all the umpires were sleeping.
Yeah.
That one just hit to shallow right. Long throw to first is going to take away a hit. Sanchez playing the rover spot.
Freddie pulled the pitch before off the screen in front of the dugout. It went back into fair territory, and Zimmerman runs over, backhands it, and takes it to the bag for the out.
Ryan, I'll bet you didn't know this, in his spare time is on the punt return team for the North Texas football squad.
The Eagles.
You guys told me about that play today. I couldn't believe you were telling the truth. That was something else.
Crazy.
Keep your eye on North Texas. That is a coming program.
I'm going to go out on a limb right now, though, and say every college football coach in America will talk about that tomorrow at practice, and that will never happen again.
Or if it does, there'll be a lot of laps involved. As Markakis is the batter. 1 out, base is empty. Knicks fly to left and center. Our final look at the Nationals in 2018. Braves have already won the overall season series. Washington trying to take this final 3-game series here in Atlanta. And Tanner Roark up to his usual tricks against the Braves. Got 5 early runs to play with. He's given 2 of them back, but still leads. There's a shot headed for the corner, and that's going to get down, and it'll bang up against the fence. It dies in the corner, and Nick Markakis has his 41st double of the year.
The doubles machine.
Got that cutter up a little bit, didn't get it quite all the way in, and Nick did a great job pulling his hands in and not only putting a good swing on it, but keeping that ball fair.
177 hits for Nick Markakis now. That's 2 ahead of Scooter Gennett of Cincinnati.
How many runs scored does Nick have?
Nick Markakis has scored. First the pitch, which is lined into right field, a base hit by Culberson. Atlanta's going to have him first and third as Harper got to it quickly. Nick has scored 76 runs. Chance for 77 here. As the Braves have a threat, tying run comes to the plate. Ender Inciarte's that man.
Good piece of hitting here by Charlie, not to get too greedy. Gets the ball the other way. Sanchez was cheated up the middle to try to hold the runner. Had a lot of room to work with over there.
So Dave Martinez doing his best Lou Piniella impersonation until he got to the chalk line. That very slow walk to the mound to go get his pitcher. And Tanner Roark's day is done after 95 pitches, 2 runs in 5 1/3 innings of work.
Xfinity delivers the fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. By Delta Airlines. And by Synovus, the bank of here.
Chip, Joe, and Tom with you in Atlanta. Tanner Roark's fate depends on the Nationals bullpen. He's got runners first and third, one out in a 5-2 game, and Tim Collins, fellas, makes his second appearance of the series.
Hard-throwing lefties had a lot of injuries to overcome. Had a little time in the Braves organization, but did most of his good work with Kansas City.
Just a couple of years with various injuries, but now in the Nationals pen and facing Ender Inciarte, who flied out against him here on Friday night.
Lefties haven't done much against him since he got called up. They're just 6 for 34.
Ender is 12 for his last 25 against left-handers. That's a .480 average.
How great is that? What an improvement.
That's part of his big burst since the All-Star break that's seen the Braves center fielder hit an even 300 in 53 games. He scored ahead of Flowers' homer in the 4th inning. This is a spot where you got to get at least one out of this first and third one-out spot. And pop fly out of play. It's strike one.
Yeah, it's funny, that trade for Adam Duvall, certainly you're getting a good player, you're getting a good outfielder, you give a little bit more depth out there, but that seems to have had a lot to do with, I shouldn't say that, maybe it's had something to do with Ender and his turning things around against lefties, where he's saying, wait a minute, I don't want a platoon, I don't want this to go on.
Yeah, he had 291 against lefties last year, so you know it's in there. And it's coming out now as that one's cut on and missed. It's quickly 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought that with that trade there was going to at least be a little bit of a platoon, and certainly early on an opportunity for Adam to play, but unfortunately for him, unfortunately for the Braves, Ender's gotten hot against lefties.
And time called. Joe, Tom gave us another pronunciation lesson on Tim Collins on Friday night.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's a Massachusetts boy.
Mm-hmm.
W-O-R-C-E-S-T-E-R.
Oh, that's too easy. Worcester.
Yeah.
Genius. Swing and a miss. And Collins gets the lefty on 3 pitches. And now Tyler Flowers, the batter. Dave Martinez will play matchup here and go righty-righty. So Collins got the man he was assigned. No luck for Ender against a lefty in this sequence. And the Braves still have him first and third, but now there are 2 outs in the inning.
Sorry, Chip, I was watching.
Back in Atlanta, 5-2. Washington has the lead. Braves still have them first and third, but now with 2 outs. And they will feast their eyes on another very exciting prospect for the Nationals. It's Wander Suero, who, as we are told, is a tall right-hander who boasts an electric arm and a strong mound presence.
Oh, I so wanted to read that, and you beat me to it.
I'm so sorry. Well, go ahead. We can do it again.
No, it's just part of what we talked about. Their notes are, some of them are great.
So Lucas Duda is going to bat for Tyler Flowers here in the 6th inning. First and third, 2 outs. And that's upstairs for Lucas, who hit his first pinch hit homer as a Brave down in Arizona. 14 overall, 49 RBIs.
That's part of the beauty of September baseball, and you carry extra guys. You got a guy like this on your bench. You can pinch hit for your catcher, where typically in the regular season you can't do that. Be interesting to see how Snit plays that in the postseason, if he carries a third catcher or how he plays that out.
I'm not going to say Bobby always did, but he usually did.
Yeah. Extra catcher and an extra shortstop. Those were always his 2 things.
And that's the luxury of the way the current 25-man roster is constructed. Culberson can play short. Dansby can play short. Camargo can play short. So you're covered there. You're covered to third base.
Yeah, there's a lot more versatility positionally in baseball, just not at the catcher position. You just don't have that guy that, oh, by the way, I can catch too.
You know what? I was just thinking the same thing about that, Tommy. Bryce Harper was a catcher. Remember, in high school and in junior college, he graduated early, went to junior college, and was a catcher. I wonder if he still could in a pinch if you needed him.
If I was a manager, I would go without one before I'd put him back there, because if he breaks a hand back there, there's a good chance you're getting fired.
Yeah, good point.
Go without, just play it off the wall.
Full count for Duda. Dansby's next. Braves do have another catcher on their roster, Rene Rivera. Strong defensive catcher.
Key pitch right here with a runner moving.
And Duda chased it. And that is the end of the inning. Braves had him first and third, 1 out, but back-to-back strikeouts take him out of the 6th inning. It's 5-2. Matchup of Cy Young Award candidates in either league. Chris Sale is the opener for the Red Sox. You know all about Jacob deGrom and his duel with Aaron Nola and Max Scherzer. Well, Jacob deGrom gave up a home run to Brock Holt. Boston jumped out 3-0. And last report, that game was tied at Fenway Park, 3 apiece.
You mean to tell me the Mets scored 3 runs for Jacob deGrom?
Yeah. And he's already given up 3. Well, based on this season, that's it for the Red Sox. They're not getting any more.
Right.
So the Mets better score a 4th, or they're going to be playing all night.
Yeah, we don't want to confuse you with that video montage we showed you. Chris Sale started that game. He pitched 3 innings and then went to the bullpen to keep throwing to try to build up arm strength, and that's the plan for the Red Sox. Gradually increase his workload for postseason play. So he appears to be healthy and getting ready for the Red Sox. As the first pitch grounded by Bryce Harper toward Ozzie at second, and a long looping throw to first in time, and that's how the 7th inning starts. Harper is out number 1. Stick around for the middle of this 7th inning. It'll be the stretch. Today it's brought to you by Advance Auto Parts.
With all due respect to Chris Sale and the other nominees from the American League, Blake Snell, leading the league in wins and in ERA. That ought to be enough for a guy that's not going to be in the postseason.
And I would think pitching, what, 10 innings since late July, August, that would probably take you out of consideration too, no matter how good your numbers are for Chris Sale. And we were engaged in a very healthy debate about the National League. Joe, I'd love to get your thoughts on what Jeff and Tom were talking about. In their estimation, the top 3 were Nola, Scherzer, and deGrom in no particular order. If you had a vote, who would you choose for the Cy Young in our league?
Because I've seen him several times already this year in this division, he has been the best pitcher I've seen all year, and that's Jacob deGrom. And we've seen Aaron Nola too.
And we'll see Nola twice if the Phillies aren't eliminated. They juggle their rotation to make sure Nola pitches in 2 of those remaining 7 games against the Braves.
He has to. I mean, they got to do that. He's good. I mean, he's really good, obviously. I mean, he's going to be in that Cy Young discussion a lot for years to come. I do think he's the odd man out this year, but he's really good.
Yes, he is. We've seen some really good performances this year. Individually, like Kyle Freeland, Colorado. Boy, he was about as good as we've seen all year for that one game.
One ball, 2 strikes for Rendon, and out of play.
And there are teams that say the same thing about Mike Foltynewicz, that he's as good as they've faced all year.
Yeah, the Red Sox were saying that. But yeah, I think, as we said on Friday, it'll be a fascinating vote in the National League, especially between the old school versus new school. Do wins count? Are wins as influential as the underlying numbers would indicate? As this one's hammered over short and into left field. Another one for Rendon, one of Joe's forward keys. Keep him under control, and Atlanta hasn't been able to do that.
He just can hit, boys.
Yeah.
There's just no 2 ways around that.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that is not going to get the kind of recognition that, say, a Bryce Harper does or whatever, but he's a guy, if you are a baseball fan and you understand what you're watching, he's a guy that when you come watch him play against your team, you can't help but appreciate what he does.
You notice it. You see it.
And he could have been a Brave. He was drafted by Atlanta out of high school, but they couldn't come to terms, and he went to Rice. And the Nationals and Roy Clark got him in Washington. Bouncer back to the mound. Carl's got it. Good grip, good throw. Great result. Soto's doubled up, and the inning is over. 8-9-1 coming up for Atlanta, down 5-2. Time for the stretch, presented by Advance Auto Parts. Let's join Jerome here at SunTrust Park.
The stretch is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts and in part by CarQuest Motor Oil.
Welcome to the stretch, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Jerome and Nick on the Fox Sports set here in the Battery right outside the right field gate. And after we wrap up with Washington today, the Cardinals come a-calling. Now, St. Louis is coming in here. They played later tonight against the Dodgers. They've lost 4 in a row. The Dodgers are trying to sweep a 4-game sweep. They've actually fallen a half a game behind L.A. in that wild card race out there. They're trying to chase down Colorado. They're having an issue. But you know they're a good team, and you know they do everything right, Nick Green. And since they made a managerial change, they have flipped the switch, as they say in St. Louis.
Well, this should be a fun series. This is a team that you expected to be a playoff-type caliber team at the beginning of the year. They start off not so well, and then now they've been playing great baseball, made the managerial change, and they've done a nice job in the second half.
What do you see about this team? Because we've always thought about the Cardinals as get them on, get them over, get them in, but they do just about everything well, don't they?
Well, they're a well-balanced team for sure. They pitch, they hit, they do the small things right. Marcell Ozuna, huge trade for him in the offseason. He's had a great second half. 11 home runs since the break. Matt Carpenter's been unreal this year. 35 homers, a career high for him. 16 since the All-Star break. Jack Flaherty, huge part of that rotation. NL Rookie of the Year candidate. Braves expected to see him in Game 3. And Miles Mikolas, huge sign, 2-year deal from Japan in the offseason as well.
You look at the numbers since Mike Schilt became the manager there. The best record in the senior circuit is Carpenter, the MVP if the Cardinals hang on and get one of those wild card spots.
No, he's not the MVP. I like him a lot, and I think he's done a great job. But defensively, he's not the greatest out there, but you see what happened. Through May 15th, 140, not a good average at all. He's picked up since May 15th. He's been outstanding, and a big reason this club has turned things around.
And you look at the Braves here, it's a chance for them to gain even more ground in this race with Philadelphia. Are they going to clinch on this homestand before they head out west for that final road trip?
I hope so, and they need to play better baseball. You have to limit the walks. You saw the 14 walks yesterday. Struggled a little bit today. They're still in this ball game, but I would love to see them clinch at home.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the starters for this 3-game set with St. Louis. And when you go ahead and you look, you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, you're going to start out with Fulte. Right away, he is one of those guys that you're going to run out there when you do get into the postseason. Notice how I say do get into the postseason there, Nick. And then Anibal, the veteran. And then Tukey, who pitched yesterday. And what do you expect out of Tukey in that third start there?
Well, I expect him to be better than he was in his relief appearance the other day. He's a guy that's not going to back down from anybody. We've seen that. He's going to throw strikes. He's going to try to get ahead of guys. And he's going to do what he needs to do. But I like the way that this rotation is set up. I love him in that rotation. He's done a nice job since they put him in the rotation. Don't love him in the bullpen, but I like him in the starting rotation.
So you look at this series, if you do get into the playoffs, which I think we both believe that they will, and they're going to win this division, who are you going to start there those 3 games?
I'm going Fulton Evans number 1. You have to go with Gausman number 2, and then probably Anibal Sanchez number 3. And after that, it's either Tehran or Newcomb, but I like Gausman number 2, Fulte number 1, and I like Sanchez number 3.
All right, before we get you back up to the booth, how about a quick word from our friends at Advance Auto Parts?
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back on the road.
Great job on the stretch, fellas, as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Dansby Swanson will lead off. Wander Suero back out there for the Nationals. Dansby's 1 for 2 in the game. Braves have 9 outs left, and this is where they've been so good all year long. Late innings. Let's see if they can rally at home and overcome what was a 5-0 Nationals lead after 3 innings.
I was looking at this guy's splits because he made such good pitches to Duda for the strikeout. Good changeup running away from him, and sure enough, his splits, he's giving up a higher average against right-handers, 242, and 3 homers versus no homers to lefties.
Seems to me we've seen a lot more of those reverse splits this year than any year I can remember.
I agree.
Two balls and a strike. And that's hit towards short. Long throw, Turner. Throw to first is not in time. Dansby beat it. And the Braves finally got one of those in their favor. Rendon took away a hit from Preston Tucker in the 5th. Dansby outruns the baseball to start the 7th.
This was an impressive effort by Turner. In the air, on the fly, that throw. But better speed beat that one.
Washington and their replay group take a look. They're not going to challenge this call. He was clearly safe. And now Ryan Flaherty will be the batter. Bouncing ball towards Zimmerman. He does not like to throw the baseball. And he takes the sure out at first, protecting the 3-run lead. Swanson at second. Flaherty retired, 1 out. And we go back to the top. All those shoulder injuries for Ryan Zimmerman forced him to move from third base to first base. Maybe the most unconventional throwing motion of anybody ever playing third base.
Yeah, that was painful to watch.
It was. It really was. And unless it's something that maybe that pulls him towards second where he's got a short toss, they'd just soon him go back to the bag, which is what he did.
Acuña's hit the ball in the air 3 times. He's 0 for 3. And was tardy there, strike 1. Runner at second, 1 out. Braves need another base runner and someone to launch one. Pickoff play, and he's back safely. Wind blowing out toward left and left center. The pitch. And that one is tipped. Acuña trying to get out of the way, but that went right off the handle of the bat. Barely.
Excuse me.
$33,403 paid to see this one in Atlanta. Atlanta has 8 outs left. Down 5-2. They've been out hit 8-6. Another pop up. Sanchez at second is going to have all kinds of room to make that play. 2 out. And here's Ozzie Albies. He was robbed last time up. Watch this great running catch by Victor Robles. Our SunTrust confidence play of the game.
Covered a ton of ground to get there.
That was the post pattern, fly pattern, whatever you want to call it, and that's a heck of a play.
And they got the ball to him.
Popped up again. This one toward Bryce Harper, who will gather this one. And Atlanta leaves another runner in scoring position, this time Dansby Swanson. And that ends the 7th. To the 8th we go. Washington by 3.
Atlanta Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Ford dealer, the Georgia Lottery, and by Synovus, the bank of here.
Here we go, top of the 8th inning, 5-2. Washington has the lead. Chad Sapatka is going to come on. After 4 innings of outstanding relief work by Kyle Wright and Shane Carl. Kyle walked a couple of guys. Shane struck out one, but only 1 hit over the last 4 innings for the Nationals offense. Let's see if Sapatka can keep up that pace. Got to hold him right there and hope the Braves can rally in the 8th and the 9th.
Worked yesterday, just a third of an inning, 0s across. 2 games out west in Arizona, but no work in San Francisco. Again, he should be fresh today too.
Well, the big right-hander misses outside to Zimmerman. 1 ball and no strikes. Chad was born in Sarasota, Florida, played college ball at the University of South Carolina upstate. 6'7", 230, signed by Billy Best. He was the 133rd overall pick in the draft 4 years ago. Braves drafted him while he was injured. He had a stress fracture in his back. So the medical reports were obviously good, and Chad's now here pitching meaningful innings in relief. Ender gives way to Markakis, and there's the first out for Washington in the 8th inning. Zimmerman flies out. He's now 1 for 4 on the day. Matt Wieters 1 for 3. Phillies are running out of time at home. It's 6-2 Miami. I believe that's the bottom of the 8th inning.
Correct.
So if this score holds and that score holds, the Braves magic number will be trimmed by 1. It could be an 8-game magic number, barring a comeback by Atlanta in this one. Phillies will be here next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The final 4 home games of the year in regular season play. Then we go to New York and end the season in Philadelphia.
It'll be fun.
But first things first, got to finish off Washington in this one. Then you've got the St. Louis Cardinals, who are playing for an awful lot. Mike Foltynewicz and Miles Michaelis will get things started here tomorrow night. Cardinals will have a new manager since the last time we saw them. Mike Matheny was the skipper when the Braves swept them in St. Louis. Mike Schilt is the new St. Louis manager. Did such a good job. They took the interim tag off of his contract and gave him a 3-year deal. Out of play foul. Again, the Cardinals will play the Dodgers tonight. And the only disappointing thing about that game for the Braves is that Adam Wainwright's pitching tonight for St. Louis. I'm sure the Braves and Braves country would like to see Adam pitch here at SunTrust Park.
Yeah, I don't think he's pitched since he came off the disabled list, unless it was an out or two.
I think he's gone once.
Once? Okay.
As that one's outside, ball 4, a walk to Wieters. Jerome and Nick did a great job on the stretch talking about the Cardinals who are next in, and Matt Carpenter, hitting 140 in mid-May, has launched himself into the MVP discussion, in large part because of salsa. Adam Wainwright, a big gardener, made some salsa for Matt Carpenter, and he hasn't stopped hitting since. As Adrian Sanchez bats with a man aboard, 1 out. He's 0 for 3. We'll also see Matt Adams, traded by the Nationals back to St. Louis. He'll be back in town with the Cardinals, the former Brave. So we hope you'll make your plans to join us Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday afternoon. Sanchez behind 0-2. Tampa Bay held on, beat Oakland 5-4. Amazing. Tigers beat Cleveland 6-4. Indians have already clinched the Central. They're the first team to clinch the division in Major League Baseball this year. Broken bat, slow roller to short. Dansby will shovel to second. And the throw to first is a flash late. Wieters forced out. Sanchez at first. And Stevenson's going to come to the plate.
Split right down the middle. All he had left was a baton in his hand.
Andrew Stevenson will bat for Suero.
He did a real good job in the 6th inning.
Suero went an inning and a third with a strikeout and an infield hit. However, they have Sean Doolittle back at active. He's their closer. Didn't see him the last time these clubs met. Pitch. Fly ball well hit center. Ender on his horse. Still going back to the track. To the wall at the 400 sign. Makes the catch. And Stevenson can't believe it. He hit that ball a ton, but to the deepest part of the ballpark, and that ends the Washington 8th.
And Nick Pivetta on the mound in Philadelphia. You would think the Phillies would take advantage of today's situation. Not the case in the city of brotherly love. Our Xfinity game break. Philly had a 1-0 lead until Peter O'Brien took Pivetta deep with a 2-run shot. He added a sac fly. They have gone to the 9th, fellas, and the Marlins maintain that 6-2 lead.
Like Chip said, Jerome, all help appreciated.
The Braves will try to help themselves here in the 8th. Down 3. They've got Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, Charlie Culberson coming up. Matt Grace is the third reliever for Tanner Roark. He follows Tim Collins and Wander Suero. 51 games for Matt Grace. Freddie's 1 for 3. And shoots this one to left and right at Soto. Well, the Braves have hit some atom balls at the Nationals outfielders in this game. 1 pitch, 1 out. Nick Markakis doubled in the 6th. Braves had him first and third that inning with 1 out, but a couple of strikeouts took him out of the inning. Braves also had first and second, nobody out in the 3rd with the 1-2-3 hitters coming up. But nothing came of that rally either. Marks had a great year against the Nationals pitching staff. 21 hits against this Washington club. As we told you earlier, Nick still leads the National League in hits. 2 ahead of Scooter Gennett of the Reds, who lead the Cubs. That one in the 7th inning. 2-1 Cincinnati.
You realize how impressive that is to lead a league in hits?
Yeah.
With all of the good hitters there are.
I've said it to Joe a million times, Tom. I don't know how anybody in this game ever gets a hit. Ever.
I'm with you. It's hard. Although sometimes when I was out there on the mound, it didn't seem so hard. But
that was only when Redmond was up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to lead your league in hits is just unbelievable.
I mean, that is really something you should be proud of. Whether you lead the league in hitting is one thing, and that's impressive, but you got more hits than anybody in the league that year.
Yeah.
That is something else.
And how about you lead your league in games with more than 1 hit?
Yeah.
How about that? I mean, it's not just Nick racking up a 1 for 4 every game. He's got 54 multi-hit games too. And Nick Markakis, first All-Star game this year, over 3.5 million fan votes. And he's got another multi-hit game right on cue. Unbelievable. 2 hits for Markakis. And he's aboard as he continues his great work against lefties. He fouled off a couple of tough pitches and then served one into left. And Dave Martinez is again going to go to his pen.
Sinker down and away, and he hit it down and away.
So the bullpen parade continues for the Washington Nationals. Grace faces 2 hitters. He retires 1. Braves rallying late, down 5-2. For the East continues at SunTrust Park. The Braves' magic number to win the division stands at 9. And Braves fans, mark your calendars. 2018 postseason single game tickets go on sale this Wednesday. To get the best seats for the biggest moments this October, head to Braves.com/postseason and get your playoff tickets today. Greg Holland, the former Cardinal, is on to pitch for Washington. 1 on, 1 out. And that missed outside. Ball 1. And ball 1 has been no stranger to Greg Holland in 2018. Nor has ball 4.
He's had a little trouble with that, but he's been better recently. And in the absence of Doolittle, he was getting more responsibilities late in the game after they picked him up.
Yeah, you obviously want to tie the game. That goes without saying. But even if you don't here in this inning, if you score a run or even two, put a whole lot different pressure on that pitcher in the ninth inning to close this thing out.
That's what hurt about not getting that run in first and third a couple innings ago.
Swing and a fly ball. That's well hit left center field. That ball's got a chance. And Charlie's hit another one against Washington.
This is just crazy.
Yeah.
6 of his 12 homers, 11 of his 42 RBIs against the Nats.
And all of a sudden, we've got a one-run game. And still only one out. Ender Inciarte, the batter. Ball one. Here we are in the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th innings. And the Braves try to give this 33,000 plus crowd a finish. Now it's a one-run game. Smoked and caught. Zimmerman in the right place at the right time.
Third baseman reflexes there. He was playing him in close in case he was going to drop a bunt down, and bang, there it is.
So Kurt Suzuki's the hitter. Remember, Kurt came on after Duda pinch hit in the 6th inning defensively. We know Kurt can hit a fastball. Let's see if he gets one here in the 8th inning. It's 5-4 now. And this long inning at least guarantees that Acuna's going to come up in the 9th inning. You get a couple more guys on. You get Albies and Freeman.
2 hard hit balls this inning, too, for outs.
No balls and a strike. A little light rain has begun to fall. Kind of a misting, swirling rain that sends a few of the fans under cover. And that one's squibbed foul. It's still 0-2. Hits are even 8 apiece. Braves have left 6. Washington's left 7 on base. Atlanta trying to get Sean Newcomb off the hook, trying to steal away a chance for Roark to win number 9 for the Nationals. They're still down a run. They've got 4 outs left. And a swing and a miss. That takes care of Suzuki, but not before Nick Markakis turns in a big at bat against Matt Grace, a single to left. Then Charlie Culberson goes into launch mode and rifles his 12th homer to make it a one-run game. We're off to the 9th, a thriller at SunTrust Park.
The Braves trail the Nationals 5-4. And you know, Arodys Vizcaíno had missed 55 games with that right shoulder inflammation, and he made his debut back with the Braves last night with the scoreless ninth inning, and the Braves were so happy to get him back. He threw that scoreless ninth. Like I mentioned, the velocity was in the high 90s, which was very encouraging to see. And he told us today that he was actually really nervous for that outing last night, but he feels good today. But Brian Snitker did tell us before we will not see him in back-to-back games. But guys, good to have him back regardless.
Speaking of your back.
Turn around, Kels.
I'm scared. Oh, God.
It was Julio making a spectacle of himself, as it were.
Yeah.
So Brad Brock is on to pitch. He's got Victor Robles. He's got Trey Turner. He's got Bryce Harper in the ninth inning. The task very, very clear here. No runs. Braves have momentum on their side. Down a run after Charlie Culberson's two-run homer. And popped up right side. That's over the Braves dugout into the seats. And quickly 0-2 to Robles, who's made a great catch in center and has a fourth inning single. Looper towards short, and Dansby makes quick work of Robles. One out in the ninth.
On our Sherwin-Williams painting the corners feature, the at bat last time around for Trey Turner against Shane Carl. Show you the sequence of this. Good low fastball. There's that changeup Tommy was talking about, where it's almost impossible to stop your swing. And then got it chasing. Painting the corners from Sherwin-Williams.
That's funny that he held up on that slider and then chased the one that was a foot further outside. The one pitch before was a pretty good pitch. I was surprised he didn't go after it.
Trey Turner bats. He's got a 1-1 count. Turner singled and scored ahead of Bryce Harper's first inning homer. Harper and Rendon have gone deep. Nationals put 5 quick runs up in the first 3 innings. They have 2 hits since the beginning of the fourth. And that's up and in, ball 3. Can't walk people here.
Especially here.
Yeah.
These next 2 guys.
Ground ball to short. Should be out of it with a clean throw. He is. 2 outs. And so now, barring extra innings, once again, maybe the last time you see Bryce Harper in a Nationals uniform in Atlanta. The Harper and Machado and others sweepstakes will be fascinating to watch once the World Series is over. Back-to-back #1 picks in Nationals history, Strasburg and Bryce Harper. And fouled away. And unfortunately for them, we talked about this on Friday night too, in an era that had Rendon and Zimmerman and Espinoza and Desmond and Harper and Strasburg and Scherzer. Didn't win a playoff series. Almost hard to imagine.
And you say they were back-to-back #1s.
Back-to-back #1 overalls.
Yeah, and the odd thing about that, and well, I say the fortunate thing for them, is that that's not what the rule used to be. It used to alternate leagues.
Right.
The team with the worst record in the American League, then the next year the team with the worst record in the National League. They changed it just to be overall So you could get the back-to-back #1 overall in consecutive years.
Smashed into right field, a 2-out single for Harper.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, the hitter that Harper is now is not the hitter he was in the first half. His second half is much more Bryce Harper-like in all facets of the game. And so he's aboard in front of Rendon, who's been on base 3 times, has scored twice, homered, as I said, singled back in the 7th.
I know it's easy to look at now in hindsight because both those guys have had success, but have there been, maybe Ken Griffey Jr., but have there been many other #1 overall picks that were so obvious, I guess, for lack of a better word? I mean, those two guys were, you couldn't talk yourself into not taking one of those guys.
Well, the Mariners almost did.
Yeah.
They almost took pitcher,
Right-handed
Mike Harkey.
pitcher.
Mike Harkey. They almost talked themselves into Mike Harkey instead of Ken Griffey Jr. The Mariners thought long and hard about Darren Dreifert instead of Alex Rodriguez, as this one's poked the other way by Rendon. He's got 3 hits. And Harper will stop at second base, and with 2 outs, the Nationals threaten. But to your point, I think that's what makes baseball so fascinating. I mean, the Dansby Swanson draft. He went first. Alex Bregman went second. Bregman's a 100-run, 100 RBI guy.
Yeah, I mean, the history is certainly on the side of those guys not panning out. I mean, it's certainly not, you know, a guarantee that you get that #1 pick. You're going to hit on it. Washington obviously did with those 2 guys, but
You know, even the year Chipper went #1, the Todd Van Poppel debate went on and on.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fascinating conversation to have with Brian Bridges. Is it easier scouting for the 1, 2, or 3 pick now than it was 20 years ago with all the video, all the nutrition? Players are bigger and stronger than they were. Projectability, I would think, from that standpoint would be a little easier.
Interviews.
You bet. As Soto bats with 2 on, 2 out. And Brock missed with him badly. 2-0 now. Got the first 2 outs rather easily. Then Harper singled. Rendon poked one the other way. And now the Nationals threaten to add to a 1-run lead. Braves will have Swanson, a pinch hitter, and Acuna coming up in the 9th. As the bright sunshine has poked through the clouds here. And an awkward swing saved Brock there. That might have been ball 3.
yeah, kind of the first bad swing approach we've seen Soto take out of pitch this series.
So 2 balls and a strike.
.64 bottom of the 9th in Philly, and they're still batting.
2 outs though.
Tying run at the plate. Rhys Hoskins.
I wish you hadn't said that. 3 balls and a strike. And a base hit to center. Here comes Harper around third. Ender's going to glove it. He's not going to have a play. And with 2 outs, the Nationals put together 3 consecutive singles to extend the lead.
When I said that's okay when Harper got the hit, I was not foreseeing 3 straight singles.
Agree.
A good young player, isn't he? Didn't hit it hard. He just hit it in the right place this time. They were playing him a little more to pull.
His 3rd RBI of the series. And his 3rd and 4th hit came today. That one really hurt. So Washington now leads 6-4. Miami leads 6-4. And Zimmerman on the first pitch drives one to right. And that should end the inning. 3 straight singles after 2 quick outs. Braves need 2 to tie now as we head to the bottom of the 9th inning. But we've got good news to report. The Marlins have held off the Phillies. That's a 6-4 final score. So the magic number at the moment is now 8 for the Braves to win the East. It could be trimmed to 7 if the Braves can come back against Sean Doolittle with 3 outs left in their quiver. They'll have Swanson. Looks like Johan Camargo's grabbed a bat, and then Ronald Acuna Jr. here in the 9th inning.
This guy's awfully tough. He had an injured toe that kept him on the shelf for a lot longer than they expected. But take a look there. 4 walks, 52 strikeouts in 40+ innings. That's impressive.
Yeah, those are some pretty impressive numbers.
And 0-34.
Bingo.
Thank you. For an average against him by lefties.
First pitch, ground ball to short. Turner's got it. 1 pitch and 1 out. And Camargo will be taken down. Looks like Adam Duvall is going to come on and pinch hit. So Duvall with 1 out. So Duvall for Brock. Rough inning for Brad. He went 1 run, 3 consecutive singles, which is head scratching after he got the first 2 outs. Base is empty for Duvall. Then Acuna. And right there for a strike. I recall last year the Nationals were dominant in the Eastern Division, but they weren't finishing games very well. They dramatically overhauled their bullpen at the trade deadline. They got Madsen, they got Kinsler, and they got this guy from Oakland. As Adam pops this one up toward the on-deck circle and foul. It was said that last season at times the Nationals felt like they had to win a game 2 or 3 separate times.
Early in the season that was definitely the case.
Well, when he got to Washington, all that was taken care of. He saved 21 games and 30 appearances for them. And helped Washington win the division again.
I really thought when they got those 3 guys that was a lock for the National League pennant.
Well, it was that gigantic series against the Cubs in postseason play that Chicago snuck away with a victory and then just ran out of gas against the Dodgers last year.
Yeah, Michael Taylor had a great series, if you remember.
And
almost single-handedly willed the Nationals to that playoff win.
They just couldn't quite get over the hump. And couldn't knock off Chicago. The 1-2 pitch is high. 2-2. Braves need a base runner, and then maybe Acuna can do something special. Braves are down 2. Good take there. Full count.
Again, you saw the graphic, only 4 walks for Doolittle.
Number 5 be okay here.
Number 5 would be just fine.
Smoke toward third, but right at Rendon. That was a hard hit ball, but no luck for Duvall. Now the Braves are down to their last out.
There will be a lot of things talked about after this game if this score stays the way it is. But Washington could pretty much point to their defense today.
Well, you talked about how good they were at the start of the game, and they've made some spectacular plays today.
Sanchez got Freeman on a hard hit ball in shallow right field. The great catch by Robles in center in the 5th. Rendon's made a couple of good plays at 3rd. Turner made a great play at short. It was an infield hit, but he made it close. And Rendon just handled that hot smash. Now Acuna drives the first pitch he sees down the line and out of play. Strike 1. Fultonevich and Michaelis tomorrow night. Braves and Cardinals, game 1 of 3. We're on the air at 7 with Braves Live. First pitch at 7:35. Fultonevich coming off a masterful performance out on the West Coast. The 0-2 pitch is cut on and missed. And Doolittle and the Nationals take 2 out of 3 in Atlanta, winning today by a final of 6-4. But don't despair, Braves country. The magic number is still trimmed to 8, thanks to some help from the Marlins of Miami. The Cardinals are here starting action tomorrow night. Doolittle saves it for Tanner Roark. Sean Newcomb suffers the loss. He falls to 12-9. Doolittle's 24th save seals the deal, and we will wish the Washington Nationals well the rest of the way. Hopefully they can help the Braves out in 2018 and beyond. Maybe the final time we see Bryce Harper shaking hands as a Nat in Atlanta. He had a 2-run homer today for Washington as well. They led 5-0 after 3. Too much for Atlanta to overcome. Hopefully better luck tomorrow, as we said, with the Cardinals coming to town. We'll preview that series, recap today's action here in Atlanta on Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. That's coming up right after the break.